Governor Ron DeSantis, seen here sporting his customary look of effervescent intelligence, pondering what next he can do to bring the state of Florida closer to his ideal of total dystopia. Governor Ronald appears to believe that doing the opposite of whatever common sense dictates is the best formula toward serving his constituency and will therefore secure his path toward a renewal of his governorship in November of 2022. The problem with that approach is that when your state becomes the leader in infections and when the death count begins to rise, particularly among young children, it would seem as if the voters of Florida may not be so ready to let him keep his job. This Yale-educated governor appears to be forgetting that he got his post by defeating his 2018 opponent by 32,000 plus votes out of a total of more than 8 million votes cast, or less than 0.5%, known in colloquial terms as winning by the skin of your teeth. How he is now reasoning that behaving like a satanic Darth Vader is going to be a good plan is more than a little beyond me, but I guess in Trump worship world, any way of thinking is cool, as long as all those predominantly uneducated, and I have to say often very stupid voters, are happy with you. But the thing is, if Yale had actually been of benefit for brilliant Ronald here, then maybe he would realize that the 2022 election isn't about beating another Republican to the right of your thinking. Rather, it is about winning against a Democrat. And when I gaze at those 2018 numbers and I run the calculus on what is happening now and what it's going to look like a year plus from now, well, I wouldn't be nearly as sure of victory as he seems to be. Of course, I admit my main reasoning arises from his chart, and I invite you to take a look at the link from my Ron DeSantis playlist, where you will find what I was saying in the summer of 2020 and his prospects for 2022. To me, the whole thing looks like a bit of a cosmic setup for DeSantis, the kind of fate you want to avoid, but that perhaps turns out to be inevitable, because with Trump still on the scene, lots and lots of GOP voters remain stubbornly committed to the defense of idiocy and lunacy, so basically you have no choice but to play along, lest the MAGA mob turn viciously against you. I'm sure when he was elected in 2018, the last thing that would have crossed his mind is that he would be dealing with a once-in-a-100-year pandemic only 2 years later. But a chart in which the sun is in Virgo, the primary health sign, and the moon is in Aquarius, forming a quincunx of unknown tightness to the sun, but still a quincunx, which is a well-known health aspect, is a chart with complicated health karma. And since Ron doesn't appear to be ailing in his own body, it is showing up as the pandemic he is having to manage, a job he is discharging with the approximate skill of a low-level and dishonest butcher. Nothing like being born with Neptune square your Sun and Mercury to correlate with the possibility you might choose the dark side of the Trident planet and opt to deceive and gaslight. And since transiting Neptune is still solidly locked into the Sun opposition, well, there you have it, a perfect description. And then we see that Saturn is moving toward a station in October, directly squaring his Venus. Ouch, that's gonna hurt, Ron. Your numbers are dropping lately. I have news for you, they're gonna drop some more. And not just that square. Look how Saturn also forms a perfect quincunx to itself from Aquarius, telegraphing the health problem even more. And then you see the Jupiter station that same month doing a quincunx to the Sun as well. And Pluto station pounding on that Mars in Libra. Translation: October is a total hellscape. DeSantis, in one of his latest Churchillian discourses, stated we're going to have to live with COVID, so why get all worked up about masks and vaccines that don't work, which I will stress is a total lie because they do. But anyway, he says this, perhaps hoping he will look prescient next year amidst the dystopia he's creating. But what if he's wrong, and when Jupiter gets into Pisces or thereabouts, the pandemic numbers improve dramatically, and all he is left with is the terrible Florida numbers he is creating for himself. For one thing, Jupiter in Pisces opposes Virgo, so that is not going to help him. And for another, he goes toward his shot at re-election in November of 2022 with Neptune still too close to an opposition to his natal Sun, and Pluto hitting really hard on that Mars, the planet of deception and the planet of death, cranking away at key natal planets, and transiting Saturn somewhere near that natal moon. In other words, a near perfect trifecta signaling you are almost certainly doomed.